And so why did you choose the blank slate as your first moat?
So this is one that I think actually a lot of the folks that follow Tesla would be aware of, okay?
Sure.
Because there was a lot of talk about this a couple of years ago, and then it kind of just faded, and I don't really hear people talking about it anymore. Maybe because there's now maybe a dozen companies that are fairly close to having a blank slate also. So the moat might not be quite as high and quite as wide. But the blank slate idea is they weren't in the car business before they started making electric cars. So they started with a completely blank tablet. They were able to use complete 100% first principles thinking if they chose to. So you don't have to. You can start with a brand new electric car company and still say, oh, I'm going to copy Tesla, which is happening.
Right.
Lots of companies are doing that. Or you could start with a complete blank slate and you could decide to copy internal combustion engine cars, but put a battery in them. So there's a lot of ways that you could go. But in Tesla's case, of course, they use first principles. And so that means that everything about the car from the ground up, from day one, is designed to optimize the principles associated with electric cars.
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt you because it's interesting you picked this one as a competitive moat, because some people will think that it's actually right. It's actually a hindrance to them. And so many people I talk to, they'll go, oh my gosh, the OEMs are going to wipe them out. Do you know that Toyota makes 11 million cars a year? They can make an EV company, a car like that, and they have all these factories already. And then you're telling me that, oh no, the fact that they started with a blank slate was actually a competitor. Is it just because of Tesla that they were able to do this, but not other normal companies?
Well, so when you start with a blank slate in the automotive industry, you start with something that only has a slightly more than zero potential for success, according to Elon, because only one U.S. car company has succeeded in the last 110 years, and that's Tesla. So yes, it does present its own quandaries, its own problems, its own level. See, this is what's referred to. The automotive industry has a high barrier to entry.
Yes.
If you want to I've been in the bicycle industry my whole life. If you want to become a bike shop dealer, there's not a very high level to entry. Maybe 50,000, 100,000, you can be in business and you can say, not a large barrier to entry. But in the automotive industry, you've got a huge barrier to entry. So if you combine the high barrier to entry with the fact that you're building something brand new from the ground up that's never been done before, that's a pretty risky thing to do unless you're, have a big ego.
But then if you do get it done and you are successful and you survive, then at that point it's designed for this new market, and that's why it becomes a competitive mode.
And it has to be right.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.